The Girl Who Almost Forgot Herself, a Walnut Flower Essence story. Elise stared at her reflection in the bathroom mirror, barely recognizing the girl who looked back. 3 weeks into 7th grade at Riverside Middle School, and already she'd said things that made her stomach twist with shame. Yesterday, she'd actually laughed when Sienna called the new girl's shoes garage sale specials. Who was she becoming? 2 months ago, Elise Brennan had been the girl who saved seats for anyone eating alone. That was at Willowbrook Elementary, where her best friends had been her constant companions. Now they were at Lincoln Middle School across town, and Elise felt like she was drowning. The transformation had started when Harper Torres, all sharp angles and calculating smile, appeared at Elise's lonely lunch table. "Want to sit with us?" Following Harper across the cafeteria felt like crossing into another world. Suddenly Elise had people to walk with, guaranteed weekend plans. But the acceptance came with unspoken rules. The right brands, the right opinions, the right way to laugh at cruel jokes. Elise's first instinct was always to defend the targets of their mockery. But each time she started to speak up, she caught Harper's sharp look. The message was clear. You're either with us or against us. So Elise learned to stay silent, then to nod along, and finally, horribly, to contribute. At home, her shoulders seemed permanently hunched. She avoided video calls with old friends, tired of pretending. When her mom asked about school, Elise's answers grew shorter, vaguer. But Diane Bowman wasn't easily fooled. She'd watched her daughter transform from someone who lit up telling stories about classmates into someone who rolled eyes when mentioning other kids at all. Then, one Thursday in October, Elise slumped onto the kitchen stool. "This girl Nora thinks she's so smart just because she's an honors everything," Elise announced, her eye roll a perfect imitation of Harper's signature move. Sienna finally told her to maybe let other people talk for once. Diane's knife stilled against the cutting board. "That doesn't sound like you, sweetheart." Elise's spine straightened defensively. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Just that you used to get excited when your friends knew interesting things. You called Emma your walking encyclopedia." "That's different." The words tasted bitter. "Besides, this girl's just showing off." Diane set down her knife. "When you imagine yourself grown up, what kind of person do you hope you'll have been?" The question caught Elise off guard. Her defensive walls wavered. What? "When you're old, looking back, what stories do you want to tell about who you were?" The uncomfortable prickling behind Elise's eyes started up. Deep down, she knew the answer. She wanted to be someone who made others feel valued, who stood up for people, but that version felt impossibly far away. "It's not that simple, Mom. If I don't fit in, I'll have no friends at all." Diane's heart cracked at the resignation there. That evening, Diane stood before her. She'd been working with flower essences for over a decade, using them as support for life's challenges. Elise had grown up watching her mother reach for a rescue remedy during work stress, or Mimulus when anxiety struck. For staying true to yourself when outside influences pull you off course. She'd taken it herself during the divorce, when friends pressured her to date before she was ready. Diane climbed the stairs to find Elise staring blankly at homework. "How's algebra?" Elise looked up, her middle school armor slipping for a moment. She just looked young and tired. "I can't concentrate. My brain feels fuzzy." Maybe some extra support might help, the flower essence kind. Despite herself, Elise looked interested. She'd grown up with her mother's remedies, had taken them for nightmares, test anxiety, grief when their cat died. Diane showed her the bottle. Walnut, for when everything feels upside down. It helps you remember who you are underneath all the pressure. "Is that what you think is happening?" The question was small and vulnerable. I think you're going through one of life's biggest transitions. Diane chose her words carefully. Sometimes, when we're working so hard to belong, we lose touch of who we've always been. Tears spilled over before Elise could stop them. I don't like who I'm becoming, but I don't know how to stop. Diane gave her a hug, feeling Elise's tears soaking into her shirt. When Elise pulled away, wiping her cheeks with her hand, Diane said, "The essence is just support. The real work, remembering who you are, making choices that align with your values, that's something only you can do." That night, Elise placed the bottle on her nightstand, 4 drops under her tongue, 3 times a day. As she drifted towards sleep, she thought about Nora, the girl she'd helped mock. Tomorrow would be different. The change wasn't dramatic. When Harper started commenting cruelly about someone's clothes, Elise found herself changing the subject. When Sienna expected laughter at another's expense, Elise managed a weak smile and looked away. "You've been weird lately," Sienna announced one lunch, her tone carrying warning. "Like, not participating." Elise's stomach nodded with familiar anxiety, but underneath, something steadier had taken root. "Maybe we talk about other people too much. What if we discussed the winter dance instead?" The silence felt dangerous. Harper and Sienna exchanged a look Elise recognized. "Wow," Harper said, voice saccharine. "Very mature, Elise." The others laughed, but instead of scrambling to repair damage, Elise took a breath. "I think I'll work on homework in the library." She walked away, heart pounding but feeling lighter with each step. The library welcomed her with quiet warmth. Elise found an empty table, surprised to discover her lunch tasted better without the performance anxiety. "Mind if I sit?" Elise looked up to see Nora, the girl from social studies. Heat flooded her cheeks. "Of course. And Nora? I owe you an apology. I shouldn't have laughed at what Sienna said about you in class. You weren't showing off. You were being enthusiastic about something you cared about." Nora looked surprised, then pleased. "Thanks. That means a lot." Over the following weeks, Elise's lunch locations varied. Sometimes the library, sometimes with Nora and other honors kids, sometimes alone with a book. She discovered that solitude wasn't social death. It was peaceful. The real test came with a winter dance. Elise found herself on decorations committee, working alongside theater kids and student council members who cared more about making the dance fun than being seen as cool. It was while hanging silver snowflakes that she met Devin, a quiet 8th grader with a wicked sense of humor. "Want to go together? Not like a date. Just as friends who think most middle school dances are ridiculous but want the good snacks." Elise grinned. "Perfect." The night of the dance, Elise stood before her mirror again, but this time she recognized the girl looking back. She wore her grandmother's vintage dress with Chuck Taylor's, a combination that felt uniquely her. "How are you feeling?" Diane asked, holding the small amber bottle. Elise considered seriously. "Different? Better. Still nervous, but more like myself. Keep taking the walnut another week or 2, but I think you're going to be fine." At the dance, Elise found herself part of a loose group. Nora, Devin, kids from art class. They weren't the most popular table, weren't the center of attention, but they were kind to each other, genuinely interested in each other's thoughts. When All I Want for Christmas Is You came on, Devin grabbed Elise's hand. "Come on, this song is terrible and perfect." They danced ridiculously, not caring who watched. Elise caught sight of Sienna's table, still perfectly put together but somehow looking smaller, isolated by their own need to remain effortlessly cool. Later, breathless from dancing, Elise and her friends claimed a corner table. Devin was doing teacher impressions. Nora was explaining the history of winter celebrations, and someone from art class was sketching their decorations. "This is nice," Elise said, surprising herself by speaking the thought aloud. "What is?" Devin asked. Elise gestured around the table. This. Being here with people who like the same weird things I do. You mean people who appreciate cheesy holiday music? Nora grinned. Exactly. Walking to her mom's car, Elise passed Sienna waiting alone, checking her phone. Elise, Sienna called unexpectedly. Elise paused. The decorations looked really good tonight. Something genuine flickered in Sienna's voice. You guys did a nice job. Thanks. I hope you had fun tonight. Sienna's smile was small, but real. Yeah, I did. In the car, Diane glanced at Elise. How was it? Elise settled back, feeling the pleasant tiredness of genuine enjoyment. Really good. Like, actual fun good, not just I survived good. You look yourself again. Elise nodded, understanding exactly what her mother meant. She pulled out her phone to text Devin and Nora. Outside the car windows, holiday lights glowed in house after house, reminders that sometimes the most beautiful things came from embracing what made you different, not hiding it. The weeks that followed brought small revelations. Elise continued taking the walnut essence, feeling more grounded each day. Her friendships deepened naturally, built on shared jokes and genuine curiosity rather than careful social calculations. One afternoon, Elise saw a small sixth grader standing frozen while someone had accidentally knocked his books and papers out of his hand. A month ago, she might have hurried past, but now she felt something different surge through her chest. Not fear, but purpose. What happened? Elise stepped forward, her voice calm but carrying clearly. She helped gather his scattered papers, walked him to his next class, offered the kind of small kindness that she used to give automatically before she'd gotten lost. That evening, Elise looked at the nearly empty amber bottle on her nightstand. The walnut essence had been a bridge, helping her navigate the choppy waters between who she'd been and who she was becoming. But the real work, choosing kindness over popularity, authenticity over acceptance, that had been hers to do. As she got ready for bed, Elise caught her reflection one more time. The girl looking back at her had the same face, but something essential had shifted. Her shoulders were relaxed. Her eyes were clear. She was herself again, not the version she thought other people wanted, but the version that felt true, solid, and genuinely hers. She wrote in her journal, I thought fitting in meant becoming somebody else. Turns out, it meant finding people who liked who I already was. And that's the story of the girl who almost forgot herself. You know, it's funny how these big life changes, new schools, new friends, new chapters, can tug us in directions we never meant to go. But Elise's journey is such a gentle reminder that even when we lose sight of ourselves for a little while, we can always find our way back. Sometimes it just takes a bit of courage, a kind word, or a drop or two of walnut flower essence to help us remember who we truly are. If you enjoyed spending this time together, I'd love for you to subscribe and make yourself at home here. This little storytelling space is all about heart-centered tales, soft wisdom, and stories that help us slow down and reflect. And before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever gone through a season of change where you felt pulled to be someone you're not? What helped you stay grounded? Maybe journaling, walks in nature, a favorite quote, or a flower essence like walnut. Share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one, and your story might be the gentle encouragement someone else needs today. Thank you for listening, friend. See you in the next story.